Hello and welcome, my name is Nathan from Movement Focus. So, the squat, the resting squat, also known as the Slav squat, the Asian squat, the flat foot squat, any of these things is what I'm doing right now. So what are the benefits? So, this really gained a lot of popularity in a lot of Western culture and the movement culture when Ido Portal introduced the 30-30 squat challenge, which was try and squat like this for 30 minutes a day. That can be split up for 30 days. And so there are a lot of benefits of this exercise. I'm going to take you through them one by one, but first I just want to demonstrate a little bit what it is. So I'm in the flat foot squat now. As you can see, my feet are flat on the floor, my knees are up here, my arms are resting on my knees, and from a side-on perspective, my back is relatively straight. My hips are low. It's a nice position to rest in. I'm not really engaging any muscles like a squat like this might, you know, it's a very nice resting position. And so the first thing we should really start with is this is a very natural resting position for humans. When you see people in a lot of third world countries that don't have a lot of chairs and stuff like that, and especially when you see some Aboriginal tribes, you know, native tribes of different lands, a lot of the time they'll be resting like this, whether it be resting or cooking something, making a fire, picking berries, talking, just stuff like this. So just a resting position. This is really good because if you have the mobility to sit in this squat, you'll understand that you're not actively using any muscles. It doesn't use as much energy as a squat like this, or even standing, you know what I mean? So you'll see a lot of cultures and a lot of people actually squatting like this. And that leads me on to number 2, which is no pun intended. It is the optimal position to excrete into poo. And that is very simply because it allows the colon to fully extend rather than when we sit in a more squat like this on a regular toilet. The colon does kind of bend a bit and it's not fully kind of extended like this allows. And I know in India they refer to Western toilets as like thrones. But yeah, so essentially it helps with digestion and excretion just like that. And now we're going to move on to some of the more musculoskeletal benefits. So we're going to compare this to sitting. So this is a good resting position, as is sitting. Sitting on a chair is probably our most common resting position in like Western culture. So one of the benefits this does for us is it extends our spine and posterior chain past what sitting on a chair does. So as you can see on this chair, I'm sitting with relatively good posture. Most people might sit a bit hunched, but let's just say I'm sitting like this. So as you can see, my back, it comes down, my pelvis is fairly neutral, I'm not really engaging it whatsoever, and then obviously my legs just coming down like this, and it just sits down like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's just how we sit kind of day to day on a chair. Now, we're going to compare it to the squat. So now you can see, in this squat, there's a much longer kind of pathway down my posterior chain. So that's from my neck all the way down my back, up the glutes, the hamstring, and then back down to the calf, and then to the Achilles, to the heel. There's a lot longer path which extends the all the muscles and the tendons. It allows it to fully stretch out. And on top of that, as you can see, my pelvis is now twisted inwards just like this. And compared to sitting on a chair, where it's more so kind of just, it's not so much rotated like that. By doing this, you extend the lower portion of the spine, and this can really help decompress the spine. Because, as you can imagine, sitting with bad posture, especially on a chair, it doesn't allow the bottom part of the spine to extend much, and a lot of the pressure builds up on the lower part of the spine. So by sitting in a squat like this, you allow it to extend a lot more because you're giving it a lot more rotation and a lot more range of motion there. A lot of people find sitting in this squat will really alleviate lumbar, like lower spine pain. And a similar point to the previous point is that it helps increase the range of motion in your knees, your hips and your ankle, because of course being in this position, you can see my ankles are engaged. Like I said, the posterior chain is much more stretched out, so my Achilles, there's a lot more range of motion there in my Achilles, a lot more stretch. The same with my knees, the same with my hips, there's a good bend here, along with the lower back. So it allows for a lot more kind of flexibility and a lot more range in your ankle mobility, your knee mobility, and your hip mobility. And the final point is that it makes you look like a weirdo when you do it in public, but other people who know the benefits and practice movement will recognize you. Trust me, in Western places, you know, Britain, USA, if you squat like this, people will look at you like you're a bit weird. But that being said, you can recognize other people who practice the movement. So yeah, whether you incorporate this every day when you're on the train going to work or waiting for the bus, or very simply if you just implement it during the day where you might be sitting on a bed or on a chair, you know, watching YouTube or playing a video game, you can very simply sit in this squat and kind of just build up your time in it. So yeah, those are some of the benefits. Let me know if you have received any other benefits from sitting in the flat foot squat that I didn't mention in the comments below. You can check out my Instagram, and yeah, until next time, I wish you well.